Welcome
Byron.
back to Cut the Cuck. Yes, Chad, go. Tell me.
You go.
All right. Well, welcome back to Cut the Cuck then. The show where we talk about the sport that we both love but probably know nothing about. My name's Byron. That fool over there in that jersey, that's Chad. And we're here to cut the cuck.
We are. Where do we start? Do we start with the Super Rugby
Rugby
coming up, or do we want to recap the rugby? Or what
I don't
do
know.
we
I
do?
feel like I do it kind of in order. And because of the time difference, we normally start with Super Rugby. But I guess also sevens technically happened before because it was in Hong Kong and it was a 3-day comp instead of a 2-day comp because it's the championship. Why don't we jump into sevens real quick, because I don't think we need to spend too much time on it. New Zealand won another one, which they've just been doing non-stop in the ladies' game.
Yeah.
It seems a little like unfair at this point. It's always a New Zealand Australia final. New Zealand normally winning it, and then we just repeat the cycle, competition after
Oh,
competition.
you could say the same about us, just
Yuck,
winning
yuck. I mean, massive shout out to obviously all the women's sevens teams, but the New Zealand, the Black Ferns, incredible. They're like so far ahead of the other opposition. It's crazy.
And I wonder what it is, because I don't see many seven. Like, there's obviously the women's teams here, the provincial sides that play, but I haven't seen any local sevens tournaments or
Competitions?
anything.
No, they normally run usually during the off season of the regular 15s game. So a lot of teams players will take part in some sevens tournaments just for fitness during the off season. But I don't think like the smaller comps aren't taken as seriously by 15s players as those that are in sevens, because obviously it's an entirely different game. Still fun to watch though.
It is fun.
The ladies Blitzbox did not have a great weekend. It sucks. They beat Team GB in the group stage, but then lost to them the very next game in the knockout. So didn't go well for them, unfortunately. Trying to see here. I think out of the 12 teams, they ended last, unfortunately, because we also lost to Argentina in the last playoff. So not a great
just
start
got
for them.
instant comp. Yeah.
What's that?
We also just went up.
Yeah. They qualified from sevens too. So their whole goal is to try finish in the top 8, which would then put them in the main competition for next year.
Yeah.
Not a great start in 12th. Gonna have to make up some points. Hopefully we have a good one next month. Let's see what happens. For the men's side, incredible to watch. We spoke about it last week where we looked at the groups and we were like, if you come in at number 1 seed, you expect it to be a slightly easier route to the knockout stages. Nope. At the end of the competition, first place, second place, and third place all came from Group A.
Yeah.
The only outlier was New Zealand. I don't know, someone rugby math that one for me.
They're just trying to get the best teams playing, I guess. But
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
Also, I want to give a crazy thing from there. I was watching the quarterfinal we had against Kenya. And I don't know if you watched the game, but we were 1 score down with like 3 minutes left to play.
Yeah.
We get a yellow card, and I turned it off because I was like, man, fuck. Like, there's no way we're coming back from that. And as I turned it off, I had the thought, I said, why don't you just watch? Because if they come back, you don't want to have missed it. But I was just like so upset by it. But I put it back on, and lo and behold, 1 man down, 7 versus 6. We come back, score 2 tries in 2 minutes to win the game. I mean,
it was wild.
I'm so glad I turned it back on. But then also I'm pissed off that I turned it off in the first place because I should have known better. But I'm still glad I got to watch it.
Yeah, no, it was a good game. I was super worried after that first game after we lost to
Spain?
Uruguay. Was it Uruguay?
I thought we beat Uruguay and lost to Spain. Give me a second. I've got it up.
We did lose to Spain.
We lost to Spain. And then what's the other game?
I'm crazy. I'm pretty sure
all games, all teams in that group ended on 6 points. No, we beat Uruguay, lost to Spain, crushed Argentina.
Oh yeah, we just beat Uruguay. That's what
Just
happened.
beat Uruguay,
I was like,
lost to
oh,
Spain.
yeah.
Yeah. Destroyed Argentina, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah.
And then to play them in the finals, much closer game, but still kind of ran away with it. All three teams ended on 6 points, which kind of just shows you how close that group was. We just went through 1 point difference on top, thank goodness. But still.
Yeah.
And anyway,
Thank you, Argentina.
overall, I thought a great sevens competition. Good to see the teams coming up, trying to break into the top 8. And just shout out to the ladies team. Hopefully they have a better week better competition next month. And for the men, let's just keep doing the good work because
So when's the
you can't
next
really do better
seventh
than
now?
winning.
Is it? It's
No, there'll be 2 more. The next one is in Spain on the 29th to the 31st of May.
God,
And
that'll
then
be
the
good.
final week will be in France from the 5th to the 7th of June. And they'll
How
crown
that
the
would
champion.
be to be playing sevens in Spain.
Well, the way Spain's been playing, I think it's going to be an electric tournament. I think it's going to be awesome.
Hope they get put in the crowds.
Oh, they will. They will. I feel like if you look at the rugby crowds, although the stadiums are smaller in you can call them I guess tier 2 rugby
Yeah.
nations, I feel like even though it's a smaller stadium, they still bring a vibe that you don't normally get in other
Yeah,
places.
you don't need a big stadium to have a big vibe. You can have a big vibe at a
Yeah, I feel like someone
club.
needs to tell the Lions that because
Yeah, and that would we've spoken about this before. If you took the Lions and played them at a much smaller stadium out anywhere, it would be
that vibe would be incredible. I think that also pull more people if they put it in a place where parking was easy and coming to and from the stadium was safe, or at least safer. Still South Africa.
That's the
Yeah.
one thing I reckon.
I think that would be a game changer. I don't know, move it. I don't know enough about small stadiums, but find one. I think it would be epic. But that's
And
just
there'll be
our
one,
stupid
even
opinion.
like one of the ones you do at like school athletics when you go to some mob fucking.
It should be at least 2,000 to 5,000 people.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I feel like they would sell out week in and week out compared to what we're currently looking at. But I feel like we're jumping the gun.
yeah.
That was sevens. Do you want to go into Super Rugby? Because I loved this week.
It was fucking wild. The first game, what was it, 87 points? It was mental. Absolutely wild. Blues, Highlanders, 47
It was as if no one wanted to defend. They were just like, whoever wants a line break, you can have it. You just got to be fast.
Yeah. No, it was that was really good. And then Waratahs Moana, also good game. Obviously
Moana.
nothing wild, but I thought that Moana was going to pull it off.
Well, I think it was impressive for them to show up the way that they did, given the horrible news that they're dealing with.
Yeah, I thought that they were going to come out with that game in because at halftime it was what 12-14 up to
Something like that, yeah.
to Moana. I thought that the passion and the Fijian islands.
Samoan.
No, but I'm thinking all the islands.
The whole Pacific Island.
I thought that hunger that they have and that fierce that they just
Yeah,
have.
the Waratahs said, screw you and all of your emotion. We're just going to play better rugby. It was brutal.
Yeah, but even from then, it was only really
At the end.
in the last from like the 60th minute. So that's how that one ended. Chiefs Hurricanes, another absolute cracker of a game. Was that who? That was the one that ended in the super point. And the top goal, Wallace TT picks up the ball, scores under the poles. It was also cooked. Such a good game. I remember after watching that game, so after watching the Chiefs and the Hurricanes and the Blues versus the Highlanders, I was like, can you imagine if they just chuck in another New Zealand team now that Moana is leaving to play in Super Rugby, and then it's basically just a New Zealand heavy comp, which I mean it really is, but more that way.
I wouldn't
But then
be against
I saw Kick On Rugby. I don't know if you watch him. He made a good point because all those games there was some big hits going in. If they did that and there was just all these All Blacks week in week out, absolutely hammering each other, there'd be no All Blacks left. They'd all be injured.
No, I disagree. I think it's building them for the world's greatest rivalry,
It
rugby's
is, but
greatest
yes,
rivalry.
they are some. They
Because
play
there's
so hard.
yeah, and I think I'm telling you now, this New Zealand side that's coming for this rivalry is going to be formidable.
Yeah,
And I know
it's
we
it's
joked about it before they got a coach. We're like, oh no, no, no. I said they can show up from
yeah.
the beach and still be competitive. The way they're playing now, not only are they going to be competitive, they're going to be matching us stride for stride, tackle for tackle, hit for hit, strength for strength. It's the more I think about it, the more excited I get.
It's how many days is it away? So it's 123 days from today.
Woo!
Yeah, it's gonna be good. But
The
yeah, no, week in week out, those are the two absolute standout games. Other than the upset at the end, which
well, before we even get into that, I want to talk quickly about the Chiefs Hurricanes fly half battle.
yeah, well, it's not just that, but it's also the the Blues too. They also battling out for who's the best playoff. There's so many at the
Yeah.
moment.
And I know we always talk, oh, if New Zealand had Richie Mwanga, what would happen? At this point, I mean, I obviously haven't seen Richie play anything recently because I don't watch
Dude,
the
the Japanese
Japanese
leagues.
league.
Well, he's stupid. He's not. I don't think he's human.
But Ruben Love, of all people, out of
Yeah.
nowhere to be,
No,
I
he's
think,
been solid.
yeah, but not at like when you think All Blacks fly half, you go down back in history. Obviously, everyone thinks Dan Carter first, but you've had Barrett, McKenzie, and is there a third, or am I imagining a third that has been
Ruben Love.
playing fly half recently?
Recently, there was another one.
There is another one, isn't there?
But I can see his face, can't see his name. But yep, carry
Anyway,
on.
like you would just expect it to be more of the same, always the same
Yeah.
three people, same two people, whatever it is. The way that Ruben Love's been playing, I I can't think currently, besides Damian McKenzie, who I would rather have as starting fly half for the All Blacks. If I were an All Blacks. As a Springbok supporter, I
I
hope
think
they,
it's
pick none of them.
yeah. They put your boy Cody Taylor as flower.
Somehow he'd still piss me off.
Oh, he absolutely would.
I watch him and Will Jordan have the best tip over the top kick combination pairing in World Rugby.
Well, they play together
Exactly.
for yeah. Um,
What about Drua beating the Brumbies at home?
yeah. That was that was a good one too. I actually thoroughly enjoyed that one. I think that's the first time they've ever beat them or ever won them.
I looked this up. It's their first away win. They lost 33 times in a row away from home. That was their first away win. Also, their first win ever in Canberra.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was a fun watch, that one too.
It was a fun watch, wasn't it?
The whole weekend was actually really good. Even the next game, the Force versus Crusaders.
I can't believe that happened.
I can't believe from what 19-0, 19-0, and then you go and you lose 31-26 to the fucking Force. Like
You
yes,
know what cracked me up about that as well? Was on the pod last week, I joked because I'll be honest with you, I give Force shit all the time. Okay,
see,
Force beat. I'm going back now to week 8. Force beat the Reds 42-19. The following week, Reds beat Crusaders 31-26. As a joke, I said Force will beat Crusaders because of rugby math. Even when the words came out my mouth, I didn't believe them. But I thought it would be funny.
I think
Lo
you're
and
manifesting
behold,
because some of the shit you say that happens is just unreal.
it was like the game ended and I was still like, did I just get the wrong stream? Was I watching an old game and no one decided to update me? No, Force beat
Alternative
the
universe.
Crusaders.
Now, I wonder what that means going into this next round. So next week, and we'll just go into it anyway. I'm quite keen for this round. It's Super Round. All of the games are in Christchurch, new stadium. It's going to be pretty sick.
What an awesome day to be a New Zealand fan who lives nearby.
Yeah, well, even I've seen a couple of people actually flying over to watch
It's going to be
the games
epic.
because you can buy 3-day passes and watch all the Super Rugby games live. That's incredible. I would have absolutely gone if I didn't have the two absolute monsters at home.
Because it's 3 days of
Unreal rugby.
amazing rugby. It's like going to the Craven Week,
Oh, yeah.
just obviously with bigger, better players.
Yeah. But can you imagine how lekker it would be if you have last week's rugby at that stadium day after day after day? You'd be...
I'd be exhausted, but I'd be in heaven.
Yeah,
Also, how's that pitch going to hold up?
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Brand new pitch, never been played on.
To be fair, though, it's only one game Friday, two Saturday, two Sunday.
Only.
But yeah, that pitch, those are some big
It's gonna
boys.
be-
Those are not
grass
small
they've got
boys.
growing needs to be tight.
Do you want to do predictions?
Sure.
What happens if,
I knew you were going to bring this up even before we started recording.
because the Tars have been playing so well in comparison to like other seasons, and for the first time in a long time, Crusaders and Waratahs are next to one another on the log.
I'm looking at it now. There's
2 point difference. And technically, Waratahs have a game in hand because they've only played 8. You guys have played 9. How? I don't.
I'm a Hurricane supporter. I don't know what you're talking about.
Actually, that would make me feel a lot better if that was the case. But Tars beating the Crusaders in the opening game of the new stadium would just be brutal for local fans for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, they'd be like, nah, take us back to the other one, boys. It's been real.
Thanks for all the hard work, but I think we're good.
Yeah, you can keep this one for music festivals and all that stuff, but we're going to just head back down the road. Thanks.
Well, your prediction then, I guess. I think I know where this is going, but let's hear it anyway.
My prediction, you did them. I'm not doing them. I did them last week and fucked them all up. I'll read them out. Okay. Crusaders, Waratahs.
Crusaders.
Okay. Hurricanes versus the Brumbies.
I can't imagine a world. Well, I didn't even think the Hurricanes would lose to the Chiefs, but I'm still going to go Hurricanes.
Yeah, you have to. Blues versus Reds.
Surprisingly, a closer game than I think it would be, but I'm going to go Blues.
Agreed. Highlanders, Moana.
Even though they're playing with all that extra gears, I can't see the Highlanders losing to Pacifica. Even though it's on neutral territory, I still think it's a Highlanders win.
Yeah. And then last game, Chiefs versus Fiji and Drua.
I think Drew will be on a high, but I still think Chiefs wipe the floor with them, actually. I think it's going to be a brutal way to end the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be I think Mackenzie's going to run an absolute muck. I wonder where they're going to start him. 15 or fly off. I don't like him.
He's better at 10.
He's much better at 10, hey? Yeah.
He's great at 15 because he's just that good. But he's so much better at 10.
Yeah.
I think it's because he needs more time on the ball. It's the same as like when they put Will Jordan on the wing. He's great there, but he's better at fullback. He needs more ball time.
I was going to say, like, for the All Blacks, you kind of have to have... You can't have Will Jordan at wing. It sounds fucking crazy.
Well, Will you Jordan can, but if you want Mackenzie the best out of
it. 15, Richie Mwanga at 10.
It's a lot of star power, and it sounds terrifying, but I think not having them in their best positions actually will work more negatively towards the All Blacks.
See,
Or you could do what, was it the Stormers? The Stormers did it for a little bit, where they had, I think it was Mani or Sasha at 12.
Yeah.
And the other one at 10, and you just kind of chop and change them.
Yeah.
My only concern for that is on defense, but on offense, it sounds absolutely horrific.
Yeah, that's fair.
So what you do then, if you're center of the pitch scrum, or even a ruck, you put
one on each side.
Marnie this side and Sasha this side.
But how do you, I suppose, yeah, I don't think it works the same for the Springboks because you've got Ethan Hooker and
Oh, I got a lot to talk about, Mr. Ethan Hooker. But anyway, go on.
yeah, I just don't think it's
No, I
the
don't think
same
it'll
for the
work for the
Boks.
Bucks.
No,
Although if there is a team who would find a way for it to be beneficial, it would be the mad scientist that is Rassi.
I'm actually excited to see what bullshit ideas he comes up with this year that just blow our minds.
I
But it's
say
happened
we
every year.
take a few notes out of the women's Springbok team from the last competition.
Just us and
We
do
have a
like the
14-man
15-man
line-out.
line out. Yeah.
We form a
Can you
maul off a
imagine?
scrum. So we scrum, pick it up, eighth man starts a maul. Perfect. That's exactly what's going to happen.
I'd love to. Can you imagine? Greatest rivalry comes down last game, game's down to the wire. Rusty, 15-man line out. They would be like, boys, there's only one thing coming.
No, I say you do a 13-man line-out and you leave Cheslin Colby in the middle of the field by himself.
Flip it and ship it. On the way to Rusty. I love it.
Because one-on-one, I say Cheslin beats anybody.
Oh, 100%. That's one-on-one, you and Cheslin. The only thing you have to worry about is if your health insurance is going to cover your broken ankles. That's your only worry.
One-on-one with Cheslin sounds like the worst thing for a defender.
And you know what the other thing about that is? Once he sidesteps you and you're sitting there and you're like, fuck. You know when you go back in the change rooms, all the boys are going to be ripping into you.
But also, if you do have a 13-man line-out and you do leave Cheslin out there and the other team has to put 13 in the line-out, who draws the short straw and says, I'll mark Cheslin by himself?
It's got to be one of the big boys so that you just have an excuse.
Yeah, like I couldn't keep up with him, sure. But like if
Yeah.
it's Will Jordan, I think he can kind of match him for pace. But with that amount of space with
Yeah.
Cheslin,
I actually like this idea of Byron. This is fun.
13-man line out, Cheslin out by himself, because you could maul it and Cheslin's just a distraction. Or you zip a 30-meter pass, give it to Cheslin in the other half of the field, and now it's one-on-one.
Yeah. I love it.
What do you say? Clip it and ship it? Let's do it.
Yeah. Tag Rusty, do whatever you need to, but let's make it happen.
All right, that's Super Rugby. Looking at the standings, Chiefs and Hurricanes even on points. Hurricanes have a game in hand though. Blues only 2 points behind them. And then you got Brumbies at 25, Reds at 22, Crusaders at 21. Only the top 6 go through. So this Waratahs Crusaders game is massive in terms of knockout placing.
And they, like you said, they've got a game in hand too. Most of the teams do.
No, only Canes and Tars who have a game in hand at the moment.
And the Reds.
Shit, you were right. I am wrong. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's why we keep you around.
Really interesting. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun round. I'd like to say that we know what's going to happen, but after this week...
Also, for it to be neutral for everybody except the Crusaders, who are also playing there for a first time, so it's hard to call it a home ground.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be fun. That's as much as I know.
I'm keen to see what happens with the pitch, though.
It's going to be a good weekend for Super Rugby. URC is super spicy at the moment. What a weekend. I think a wild result.
There was a lot of fun also in this game.
Yeah. It was good. Obviously, I'll just go through some of them real quick. Squeaking out a win against Zebre, 31-30.
That was
Not
in the
what I
last
was
minutes
expecting.
too, hey? The last minute they scored the try. And
Yeah, Bowen Fenter.
Yeah.
29th minute. I don't know what happened to Edinburgh. Like, they've got class, but they're just not performing the way that they used to, or have been, whatever you want to call it.
They don't have enough South Africans in this team.
They've got like all of the freaking Scottish representatives that are South African play there.
They weren't all in this team at once.
Exactly. Leinster beating Ulster, kind of not expected.
No. I wasn't expecting that game to go there. Oh, what you're saying Ulster to win?
Yeah.
No,
Just
I
based
thought
on
Leinster.
current form, not based
Oh
on
yeah,
historically. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And they were at home. I mean, either way, looking at the race for the 8, those two teams, whoever won, we just need them to continue losing. So now we need Ulster to fall apart instead of Leinster.
They've started absolutely.
Absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
Crushed. Dragon. It was brutal if you were a Welsh supporter. Nothing really stood out for me in those games. Just the Edinburgh game was close and the Bulls game was pretty one-sided, and it sucks that Ulster lost because of Werner Koch, but that's about it. What I think one of the most disappointing games of the weekend was Stormers Connacht.
Was, and I'm not even a Stormers supporter, but my God, that second half from about the 60th minute, it's like, what the fuck's going on here, boys?
So I've got an opinion. It's probably not real, but that's what I thought anyway.
Here.
From the beginning of that game, I also felt bad for the referee because both teams just whining and screaming and shouting
Yeah.
and complaining and everything. The wind blew, someone cried about it. Every time there was a tackle, there was afters. There was just always pushing and shoving and whining and complaining, and this one's asking the ref that, and that one's asking the. It was just like both teams needed to just shut the fuck up and play rugby at one point.
Sometimes you need a referee to call that shit out, though.
Yeah, he didn't.
It's also no, but that's what I'm saying. It's there's a part of it on him.
But I think because of that, Connacht got under the skin of the Stormers players, especially Sasha. And I've seen this used as a tactic before. They don't play Sasha in rugby. They play Sasha in all the shit that goes on off the ball. The extra pushing, the chirping, the complaining, the what about him? What about. And if you look at the last 20 minutes of that game, they were completely under the Stormers' skin. And the Stormers weren't playing Stormers rugby anymore. They were playing Connacht rugby.
Yeah.
And I think they were more interested in what Connacht were doing instead of what they should have been doing.
That's a good pickup. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're onto something, Byron.
Well, if that's the case, then fucking someone needs to talk to them, because if I were to play the Stormers next week, I would use the exact same tactic because it worked.
Who they play next week?
No, look, see.
Or Glasgow.
Oof. Big game.
Big, yeah.
Big game. First versus second, if I'm not mistaken. Unless they moved around a bit because of that loss. I haven't looked at the log.
Well, speaking of Glasgow,
yeah, first versus second.
They're gonna be a wounded dog.
Brother, what is happening?
That game was so much fun to watch. Though the Lions were just having fun at the end. That little back pop chicken wing pass.
Stop it! That
out of nowhere. Asanati's soft hands.
It was that offload behind the back, and then there was they tackled the other supporting player without the ball. Did you see that? He dummied him, and he just said, "Okay, no more supporting for you." So like, there would have been maybe a card or something if it didn't result in a try. But then even Kjorn Horn's inside-outside step on the defender, 80-meter run, score a try. It was beautiful. Beautiful.
My favorite part outside of that one was Asanati's soft hands. Got the ball and passed it like he was outside centre.
It was beautiful.
It was so good.
He doesn't look like an outside centre, but he's playing like one.
He looks like he ate an outside centre. He's a big unit.
What is crazy is obviously we wanted Stormers to beat Connacht in terms of having, because we can just say it now, Sharks aren't really going to make the top 8.
They've got 2 chances. It's 0 and fuck all.
I think mathematically they still can, but it's going to take a miracle.
Yeah.
But for the Lions, that was huge, because that was probably a game they were expected to lose going into this race for the 8. So now next week's game against Connacht for the Lions, if they can win that, they can almost sure up a top 8. But now they're pushing for a home semi.
Top 4.
Yeah, they're pushing
Yeah.
for a home semi. I mean, look, I ask for it all the time from the Lions, but they're on their longest win streak ever in URC. They're at 5 games undefeated, and they've taken some big scalps in
Yeah.
that five. They took the Sharks, Stormers, Glasgow. It's impressive.
Yeah.
And now Connacht
I
next week, one more win, boy. One more win.
nog een.
But again, looking at that stadium, it sucks because the camera angle that they use shows the empty side of the stadium, and then behind the camera, it's packed.
Well, packed.
It's more full than empty.
It's all the working staff that are there.
I think Lions at a smaller sold out stadium would be so epic.
Can you imagine if everyone bands together and goes and watch? So Lions are in the semis, home semi, packed out Ellis Park Stadium to watch. Who would they play at
So
the
look,
moment? At the moment,
under,
they play Lions versus Cardiff.
it would be.
No, sorry, it'd be Lions versus Ulster.
So look, this has happened before where the Lions will play with an empty stadium and then all of a sudden they make knockout rugby and the stadium is packed because people are like, okay, I'm willing to risk getting my phone and wallet stolen to go watch a knockout game. But I can understand why they wouldn't want to pay the money.
Yeah,
It's usually more money to pay for parking than it is to pay for the ticket to the Lions game.
Yeah.
And then there's that risk in between parking to stadium, stadium to parking at the end of the game. They can just fix that problem. I feel like Lions games will be just as full as the Bulls games.
That's a bit cool. That's one of my favorite stadiums. But in South Africa, my favorite stadium is the Shark Tank, just because they have the Shark Fest and all that stuff. But Loftus does the same thing on that B field with the bras and stuff. Such a vibe.
And Ellis Park started to do that as well.
But great vibe.
Let's not get into that one, Chad. Where were we? Lions beating Glasgow, epic. What about, did you watch the Scarlets Cardiff game?
No, I didn't watch any of the other two games. I woke up and watched the Sharks game.
So, let me just, if you want to go watch a ridiculous game of rugby, go watch Scarlets Cardiff. So Scarlets came out in the second half as if it was their last game ever playing rugby. They were just untouchable when the second half started. And they pulled off this amazing lead against Cardiff. And even the commentators were like, this is such a shame for Cardiff. They're in such a close race for the 8 that if they lose this game, it will be really hard for them to qualify, blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, Cardiff decided, you know what? We don't want to lose this game. We want to win. Scarlet stopped playing. Cardiff learned how to play rugby, and it was such an epic comeback. It was what a turn of events from Scarlets being this untouchable force in the second half to I can't hold on to a rugby ball. I'm just going to give it back to Cardiff.
3 tries in 8 minutes.
Crazy rugby. Crazy.
Yeah, okay, I'll try.
Just watch the highlights. It's good enough. And then it's the last game of the season. Munster wrecked Benetton.
Yeah.
Then the last game of the weekend. I did not expect this.
I
don't know how it happened because it shouldn't have.
No.
But one thing did come from that game. I can still see the hurt in your eyes. You can't even use your words.
No, I was gutted.
When Ethan Hooker,
the tackle Ethan Hooker.
Yes. I want to talk about it. Not just that, but the whole in-goal tackling, not tackling, diving in the air nonsense. So, my brother also sent me during the week a clip on Instagram of a player scoring a breakaway try. As he's diving to put the ball down, another player tackles him into play while he's in the air, hits him. The whole crowd boos, players come running in. And the question is that illegal? Is it an illegal tackle? Like, what does the referee do in this sort of situation? I'll send you the clip if you want to analyze it yourself, but I'll give you my opinion. The rule is, like, if you're looking at like a ruck that's on the try line and the ball's just before it, You can dive over the ruck if it's in the act of scoring a try. So you can't jump into a tackle.
Dive over a ruck
with the ball. You can, as long as it's in the action of scoring a try.
I don't know if you're right, but carry on.
Okay, so now I'm just going to Google it. Can you?
You're the referee. I could be. I hope I'm wrong.
Well, I hope I'm right, because then, like you said, yeah, you see, fuck off, I'm right. Thank you.
Jesus.
Okay, so you can jump. So anywhere else on the pitch, if you're running and the defender's here, you can't jump into him. That's not allowed. That's a penalty the other way. It's not a tackle in the air. But if it's in the act of scoring a try, you can jump and dive. The thing is, when you're doing that, because it's in the in-goal area, you negate the tackle in the air.
Yep.
If you have the ball. If you do an up and under and you're both in the in-goal, and you can't just moor him in the air while... Do you know what I mean?
So you can, just once, because then he'll be off.
Yeah, you'll get a red card. But if you have the ball and you're jumping in the air, you can be tackled. You're the one who decided to dive. That's on you. So you kind of take away the protection you have of being a player in the air if you've decided to dive in the in goal. That I agree with. What happened with Hooker is the try was scored.
Yeah, he was.
The defender was in no way, shape, or form going to get underneath him. He dived on top of him.
On his back.
So at the very least, you can say late tackle and dangerous tackle, or dangerous tackle. Why did the ref looked at it and they just moved on?
Yeah,
I think that's
reckless. It was
reckless.
Stupid.
Exactly.
Like you could really fuck someone up doing that,
especially if the ball's underneath him.
Yeah.
So the reason I brought up the diving in the air and whatever it is I do believe that it is at the attacker's discretion when to put the ball down, because you'll see players will cross the line and then try sneak in a few meters to make the kick easier, and then it kind of puts the defender like, do I tackle him? Maybe I tackle him out? Do I try to get underneath the ball? Or you'll see they try and kick the ball as they're trying to place it. I think that it's the attacker's responsibility to put the ball down early if they're able to. But then also there's also some responsibility on the defender that if you know you're not going to prevent the try and you still go in, there should be repercussions.
I agree. It's almost the same argument with when someone goes into a tackle and there's like head-on-head, face-on-face collision. Like, no one tackles with their face. No one.
And if you do, it's always on accident, because you don't want to tackle with your face because it hurts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think...
So, yeah, I think at the very least there...
But you know what they'll do with what happened? They'll find a way to remove a scrum out of the game. They'll be like, nah.
Restart the penalties, no scrums for the next 15 minutes.
Yep. That's what will happen.
What do you think? So I'm just trying to think of like the way the laws work. Wouldn't you would then restart the game with a penalty to Sharks from the halfway line, right?
Yeah.
And then possibly a yellow card for the defender. That's how I would handle it.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously depending on how dangerous it is and how reckless it is, but yeah. Penalty, I don't know about yellow card, but depends on how stupid.
Because you see it as well when wingers are running down the line and they try to score in the corner and they dive at a weird angle and then the defender just tries to push him out. And I think that's okay because you're the one who's decided to dive.
Do you remember the Corumbeti and Mpimpi tackle? Similar thing.
But the difference there was Corumbeti didn't use his arms.
Yeah.
He shoulder charged him. And because by the law, it's always an illegal action, then it has to be penalized.
He didn't get penalized, right?
Well, I'm saying he should have.
I know, but yeah, it's similar things. We're talking the same here, just giving different examples.
Yeah. So, World Rugby, as much as you don't want to do all of the fun things, why don't you look into safety since that's your main concern? And let's review what happens when a try is scored and the defender decides to do an elbow drop from the top rope like he's a WWE wrestler. Because now he's injured. Now we don't have Ethan Hooker. And he was in no way, shape, or form going to stop that try.
Is he actually injured now? I didn't see he's injured.
Yeah, he's injured. I don't know how serious it is, but I see that he's not. He was at least out for next week's game, it said.
I see Grant Williams also leaving the Sharks. Sekelis is leaving the Sharks. There's like this massive boat that's leaving with all these players.
Not good for you guys if you're already struggling.
But, I mean, the boys didn't.
Maybe you need it. Maybe you'd lose some of your stars.
Yeah.
And let the hard work show for itself. I would argue, no offense to the Lions, because obviously I'm a Lions supporter, but we have some.
Massive Lions fan.
But we don't have the same sort of star power as the Sharks or the Stormers or the Bulls. And yet we are playing, I said this last week and I still stand by it. I think the best game of club rugby to watch at the moment, not because of how well they're doing or in terms of class or whatever, but I think Fiji and Drua versus the Lions would be one of the most entertaining games of rugby to watch as of today.
Would be fun.
Because I think they both play let's just see how to score tries, regardless of where we are on the field.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
We missed a very important topic here.
What's that?
The Moana Pacific are leaving the Super Rugby.
Well, we touched on it, but
what are we doing to fix the problem? What team are we bringing in? Because, I mean, there's still a chance that they stay in. They just need someone to come up with $14 million.
Yeah, I looked at it now. They need to meet the estimated annual running costs of $10 to $12 million to start. Now, would I give Pacifica $12 million based on current form? No, but also I don't have $12 million, so that doesn't really matter.
Can you imagine like Elon comes in and just it's like, cool, let's do it. Load the team up.
Yeah, with whatever you need. How much do you need? 50 million, 60 million? How much money do you need for you to win?
Yeah.
Maybe they bring Richie Mwanga.
Fuck, can you imagine? Jesus. You get Richie, Artie, bring all the boys back.
Yeah, Japan goes empty overnight.
Fuck yeah.
No, it sucks. I know we've joked about it and actually not joked about it, but Cheetahs need a big competition. I still think it would have made more sense with 12 teams in Pacifica. But if you're going down to 10, you can have 11 again. Just bring over the Cheetahs.
Yeah. Do the exact same thing. Yeah.
But URC are also losing a team. So bring over the Cheetahs. They're already in the Investec, in the EPCR. Yeah. Cheetahs are already there. Do they do well? No. But they're already there. So bringing them into the URC with the Welsh team dropping out seems like the smoothest transition.
It makes sense. I reckon that's what's going to happen.
But to have the Cheetahs in Super Rugby Pacifica would be
I'd love awesome. It.
And also think about the growth of viewership in Pacifica. Because I feel like every South African, regardless if you're a Stormers, Lions, Bulls, who am I missing? Sharks, even Griquas. You can be a Griquas fan. It doesn't matter. You're going to support the shit out of the Cheetahs in Super Rugby.
100% would go and buy a
Cheetahs jersey.
Cheetahs jersey, and
you can put them in any stadium, so that at least they can have a home base.
They wouldn't care because none of them would be. They wouldn't. You could put them in Nelson's Trafalgar Park.
Yeah, but any place is going to be better than Bloemfontein.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, everyone would be happy. It's a win-win for everyone.
Especially that guy, the head of Super Rugby, who said that they have more viewership without the South African teams. Listen, dickhead, take the two idiots here, take our opinion, and someone look into whether or not it makes sense, because I think it would be a massive growth in terms of viewership for Super Rugby.
Yeah. And also, you know how cuck it would be for the other teams to have to go and play in Bloem.
Okay, but hold on. For those who haven't watched when we've spoken about this before, the argument is if they join URC, because teams are already traveling to South Africa, they'll have a regular home and away fixture list, just like everybody else. But if they join the Super Rugby, then give them a home stadium and give them one home ground, so you don't have to fly to South Africa. Cheetahs will go to I would
New
say
Zealand.
Australia,
Yeah.
and then give them a home ground. Or New
Give
Zealand,
them
I don't really
Melbourne.
mind.
No one fucking plays there. They got a stadium.
And then all of their games will be played in that region. You won't need to fly to South Africa for away games or home games. That's the argument. A quick little synopsis from these two geniuses.
I think it's a great idea.
I think they need to hire us. That's what I think. I think, what do you call him? Old mate, who says that they're making more money and more viewership without South Africa. Take a note, buddy.
Yeah.
Take a note. Quick one. We haven't done predictions for next week. I did Super Rugby. You got to do URC.
Sharks
I'll
are
read
losing.
them out to you.
God, they actually are losing. Okay, hit me.
Cardiff Ospreys.
I have to go Cardiff, even though Ospreys just beat the Sharks.
Yeah, but on form, that doesn't say much.
Yeah. Edinburgh.
Edinburgh Sharks in Scotland.
Edinburgh. I can't see the Sharks.
Yeah, but Edinburgh can't win a game either at the moment. So,
Well, the crazy thing is, I've got the betting odds up on the fixtures I've got here. The Sharks are the favourites for that game.
yeah, I believe it.
I don't think they're winning.
I also believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, Edinburgh. Wow, this sounds rude to say, but a game that you could miss. Zebre vs Dragons. Given what they did to Edinburgh last week, sure. Home ground.
And they're playing at home, yeah. That's the only reason why I've chosen them.
Then, the Stormers Glasgow. First, second.
If they got their teams, they don't have their team on Tuesday. I'm going to go Stormers. I think last week upset them, and they'll come back with a bit of
Glasgow also
something.
have a little something to prove. They just lost pretty convincingly.
Yeah. But they're not playing
I
home,
think
so I think
that might be one of the games of the weekend.
Fans.
Yeah. Then one of the big games for the race for the 8.
Lions
versus
by
Connacht.
15.
You could have said 50 and it would have been believable.
Yeah.
Anything's
Lions
possible at the moment.
Yeah, no. When is this game? Sunday. I'm wearing my Lions jersey. I'll wear it all weekend.
Perfect. Here's another cracker, actually. Ulster.
I'm going to go Munster just because they're at home, even though Ulster's been on form.
Yeah, good game that. Scarlets Bulls should be an easy one.
It's going to be the Bulls for sure.
And then I'd love for the upset, but we've got Benetton versus Leinster.
If there was going to be an upset, that would be the one for this weekend, I think.
Yeah. All right. That sums that up. One last bit of business we haven't attended to, and I'll be honest, I missed all 3 games because there was so much rugby on this weekend. But in the Women's Six Nations, England thumped Scotland 84-7.
Yes, that's a cricket score.
Speaking of cricket,
score.
T20.
Yeah.
The women's team is 2-0 up in a series against India. Surprise.
They don't, at least here, I don't see any adverts or any media about women's sport here.
Then you need my Instagram algorithm, because this is where I get all of my women's sport updates. All the rugby and all the cricket. You can eat your heart out.
I get the updates after I can get the scores, all that stuff, but like even for the Women's Six Nations, wasn't a single ad on TV on Sky Sport about the Women's Six Nations starting. I had no idea.
So, question for you, because maybe this will spark a debate. When the Men's Six Nations was on, did you see up adverts on Sky and stuff like that?
Everywhere. Yep.
So New Zealand's the problem.
New
Zealand's the reason why women are fighting for equality.
Bastards.
Don't you have a female prime minister?
No, not anymore.
So there was one though. I'm not fully.
There was one, yeah. I don't think they liked her very much though.
Well, if you're in charge during COVID, no one liked you. You could have done anything and no one would have liked you. Okay, so the debate would be, why is Sky Sports New Zealand not advertising the Women's Six Nations
We
if
also
they
have to be
would
nice to Sky
advertise the
Sports because
regular?
they could sponsor us. So it could be a sponsor of our pod and send us.
Ooh, Sky Sports New Zealand.
Yeah.
I feel like we've got a better chance getting Women's Six Nations to sponsor us. Sky Sports New Zealand.
This is also true. Yeah, fuck you, Sky.
France beat Wales 38-7 and Ireland beat Italy 57-0. 57-20, sorry.
Very one-sided, hey?
Yeah, look, England and France dominate that competition.
Yeah.
So I think what England are going to do to Wales this coming weekend is going to be ugly. Italy versus Scotland will probably be pretty close, and then France will probably beat Ireland. Wouldn't thrash them, but probably convincingly.
Yeah.
So that's my
Only big
predictions for
game
next
of
week
me.
as well.
Sunday.
But I didn't watch any of the games, but I did watch the first week of games. It is the level of rugby is getting better and better in the women's game every time I watch.
I was watching some of the women's rugby. There was women's rugby on this weekend, and I think the only thing that needs to change for me is because there's so many like handling areas and all that kind of stuff. They need to make their ball one size smaller, I reckon. Because think about it. Think you take Archie Neyman's hand or Eben Etzemeth's hand. It's like a fucking spade.
Okay, I can see what you're saying there. So look, when I ref the under 12s, they play with a size 4 ball.
Yeah.
But then under 14s, they're already at the size 5. I would say that it's disrespectful to the women's game to give them a size 4.
Why is it disrespectful? Like, we don't expect women and men to run at the same speeds.
No, and yes, the
athletics, all that
ball,
kind of stuff.
but
I just think that there'll be. It's easier to pass a
less
smaller
handling
ball
errors.
for less handling errors. When you're passing those long passes, women generally don't pass those long passes as
Those
many
30
times in the game.
meters zingers that I can't even pull off. I love watching it because it's so
Yeah,
hard.
it's so good to see. But if you had a size 4 ball, I guarantee you'd be able to.
Okay, not me, but
You-
maybe
you-
somebody else.
Even you, a size 4 ball. I've got one somewhere.
Hold on. Let's pose the question then, so that you can clip it and we'll post it and we'll get someone's opinion. Do you think that the game of rugby, the women's game of rugby, would benefit from having a size 4 ball?
Or even just half a size. Just a
Size
little
4 and a
smaller.
half, so make a new special one?
Yeah, make a women's ball.
All right. Let's post it. Let's get everyone's opinion. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I think that's all the rugby. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. I'm busy looking here. Got nothing.
I think that's it. I think we cut all of the cuck.
We did. Yeah, that's it. Look at us, guys.
That's it, kids. We cut all the cuck. Thanks for watching. Curious to hear your opinion on the size of the ball for the women's game. I think that's an interesting one to post. Chad, thanks for being a doers. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
If you watched this long, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share it with your auntie. We'd like to know what size rugby ball she likes to play with.
Sounds so weird, but